Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying this. You are being controlled, not by chains, not by laws, and not even by governments, but by people who know how to push your buttons. And the worst part is, they don't need permission. You are a slave to their comments. You are a prisoner to their mood swings. Your peace, for sale to the highest irritant. But what if I told you that today is the last day you ever get angry because of another person? What if I could show you how to walk into any room, hear anything, be around anyone, and still have complete, unshakable peace? If you're tired of your emotions being dictated by other people, if you're tired of losing your joy, your focus, your clarity because someone got on your nerves, then you must not just hear this message, you must embody it. Anger is not a gift others give you. It's a switch you flip. Nobody has the power to put rage in you, it was already there. They just revealed it. So we stop blaming people for making us mad. They don't make us anything. They simply expose what we haven't yet mastered. The first domain of rulership is you. You cannot govern a nation, a business, or a family if you cannot govern your own heart. A man who is ruled by emotions is like a city without walls, vulnerable, unstable, and constantly under attack. When you master yourself, no enemy from the outside can defeat you. Why do you let people you don't respect have access to your peace? Why is your joy in the hands of people who don't even know your purpose? Every time you say, "They made me mad," you are handing over your emotional keys. Take them back. You decide how you feel. You are not a puppet. You are a king. Animals react. Men of purpose respond. When someone offends you, your reaction reveals your discipline. When you're truly mature, you can hear an insult and remain calm, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. You don't attend every argument you're invited to. Some people throw fire at you expecting flames, but your peace extinguishes it. Anger comes when we allow unguarded access to our heart. Stop meditating on offenses. Stop replaying hurt. You cannot grow if you keep feeding on emotional poison. Block out anything that doesn't align with your identity, your purpose, and your peace. You are not everyone's trash can. Every time someone tries to bother you, it's a test. Have you grown? Are you still ruled by feelings, or are you anchored in purpose? Offense is bait, but purpose is your anchor. Your destiny is too important to be delayed by petty people. From this day forward, make a decision. No one owns your peace. No one dictates your joy. No one controls your emotions but you. You are a leader. You are a king, and kings don't scream, they decree. Let others lose themselves in anger. You will rise above it in wisdom, because when you stop reacting, you start ruling. Anger is one of the most misunderstood emotions in the human experience. It often feels sudden, explosive, and uncontrollable, like something that happens to us. But the truth is far more empowering and sobering. Anger is not given to you by others. It is already in you, waiting to be triggered. No one pours anger into your soul. You release it from within. What people do is act, speak, or behave in ways that touch an unresolved space in your heart. They knock on a door, and if there is something behind it, it answers. That means the root of anger is not in the action of another person. It's in the state of your inner life. It's not about what they said. It's about what you haven't healed. It's not about what they did. It's about what you haven't yet mastered within yourself. If someone bumps into you while you're holding a cup of water, what spills out isn't determined by who bumped you, but by what was already in the cup. In the same way, when life or people bump into you, what comes out, be it anger, bitterness, or peace, is determined by what's already inside you. So when you get angry, you're not just reacting to the person, you're revealing a deeper reality about what's going on in you. Anger is often a symptom, not the sickness. The real issue lies beneath the surface: unmet expectations, unresolved hurt, pride, ego, fear, the desire for control, or the inability to accept what you cannot change. These are the roots, And unless they are confronted and uprooted, people will always have the ability to make you angry. Here's the revelation. No one has the authority to control your emotional climate unless you've given them the power. And most of us give that power away unknowingly, reacting like puppets pulled by emotional strings. But maturity begins when you realize that every trigger is not just an external offense, it's an invitation to inspect the condition of your heart. Why does this person get under your skin? Why does that comment keep echoing in your mind? Why do you lose peace so quickly in certain situations? The answer is not out there. It's in here. That's why some people can hear an insult and laugh it off, while others hear the same words and explode in rage. The difference is not the insult. The difference is the person. You cannot control the words of others, but you can absolutely control the state of your soul. The work begins when you stop blaming others for your emotional instability and begin the deeper journey of self-awareness, healing, and discipline. You do not fix anger by avoiding difficult people. You fix anger by confronting the broken pieces in yourself that allow those people to have power over you. Until you do that, you will live your life walking around with a short fuse, hoping others handle you gently. But life will not adjust to your wounds. You must rise and take authority over them. The most powerful man or woman is not the one who controls armies, commands wealth, or speaks with influence in high places. The most powerful person is the one who has learned to govern themselves. You can conquer nations and still be defeated in your own soul. You can have authority over cities but be a stranger to your own peace. True leadership does not begin with followers. It begins with self-mastery. If you cannot rule your emotions, you are not fit to rule anything external. You are only as stable as your internal government. And internal government is not about suppression, it is about stewardship. It is about knowing what you feel, why you feel it, and whether it deserves to stay. Most people live from the outside in. They let the world dictate their mood. If people are kind, they feel good. If people are cruel, they feel upset. If life is smooth, they are calm. If life is hard, they are anxious. That is not leadership. That is emotional slavery. A truly free person lives from the inside out. They dictate their atmosphere, not the other way around. Their peace is not based on permission from people. It is grounded in identity, rooted in truth, and governed by discipline. You cannot be angry unless you allow it. You cannot be provoked unless you agree to be. You cannot be robbed of peace unless you've left the door wide open. Self-governance is the foundation of unbothered living. When you understand who you are and establish personal law within, external events lose their grip. You begin to realize that your mind is a nation and your emotions are its citizens. Some rise up, some rebel, some need correction. But you are the king, the president, the ruler. You decide what gets allowed, what gets confronted, and what gets cast out. Every time you lose your temper, every time you let someone else determine your mood, you are abdicating the throne of your own mind. You are letting someone else lead where you were designed to rule. This kind of power is not about control in the worldly sense. It is not dominance over others. It is dominion over self. It's the ability to feel deeply but not be drowned. To be provoked but not moved. To be tested and remain rooted. And this kind of mastery doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from vision. When you understand who you are, what you're called to do, and the destiny ahead of you, you will not waste your emotional energy on small battles. You will not throw your crown on the ground every time someone offends you. You will hold your peace because your assignment is too great to be distracted by nonsense. Internal government is not emotionless living. It is elevated living. It is not the absence of feelings. It is the presence of authority. And when you walk in that, no one, not their attitude, their offense, their insults or rejection, can pull you out of position. There is no greater form of slavery than to be emotionally owned by another person. Most people don't realize this is happening because emotional bondage wears a smile. It comes through love, family, coworkers, critics, even social media strangers. You don't need chains on your wrist to be a prisoner. Sometimes all it Takes is one opinion, one comment, one passive-aggressive tone, and your entire sense of peace is gone. That is not freedom. That is not strength. That is emotional slavery. When another person can pull your mood down or push your anger up with just a look or a word, you are not in control. You are in submission. And the danger of this kind of life is that you begin to organize your decisions, your responses, even your identity around other people's energy. You wait for their approval before you feel peace. You wait for their validation before you feel confident. And if they disapprove, disrespect, or dismiss you, your whole emotional climate collapses. That is not how you were designed to live. You were never created to be managed by others. Your joy was never meant to be outsourced. The moment you allow people to determine how you feel, you have handed over the keys to your life. You are no longer self-led, you are audience-fed. You begin to perform, to appease, to tiptoe, because your peace is on loan to the opinions of the crowd. But here's the truth. The people you try to impress today will forget your name tomorrow. Their mood changes like the wind. And if you're always trying to keep everyone happy, you will never know what it means to be free. Freedom is not being liked by all. It is being unshaken when you're misunderstood. It is not smiling only when people approve. It is holding your joy when they walk away. You cannot walk in purpose and still be owned by the emotional grip of people. You must make a decision. Either they own your peace, or you do. When you detach from emotional slavery, you reclaim the right to be whole on your own terms. You stop reacting to everything and start choosing what's worth your energy. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every comment needs a comeback. Not every offense deserves access to your heart. You begin to filter life not through emotion, but through purpose. You no longer let temporary people create permanent wounds. You no longer let minor insults shift your major vision. That is the strength of detachment. Not detachment from love, not detachment from people, but detachment from the need to be emotionally controlled by them. You can still love without losing yourself. You can still care without being consumed. You can be connected without being entangled. That is freedom. When you are no longer disturbed by how others move, because your stability does not depend on them. It's been built within. The difference between chaos and composure, between leadership and emotionalism, between strength and instability, is found in one thing: response. Life is filled with moments that will provoke you, test you, tempt you to react. People will push your buttons, speak out of turn, disrespect you, ignore you, challenge you, misunderstand you. That's not the issue. The issue is what you do with it. The issue is how you respond. Most people live by reaction, quick, uncontrolled, emotionally charged responses that give away their power in a moment. They hear something offensive and immediately lash out. They feel disrespected and instantly go on defense. But here's the truth. Reaction is natural, but response is intentional. Reaction is what happens when you live on autopilot, when your emotions are leading the way. Response, on the other hand, is the fruit of discipline. It's what you do when you've trained your inner world to remain still in the storm. There's a law at work here. It's not a law made by men, but a law written into the fabric of wisdom. You cannot always control what people do, but you can always control how you respond. And if you don't learn to respond with maturity, you will spend your life being manipulated by whatever energy surrounds you. Someone comes at you with anger, you match their fire. Someone disrespects you, you disrespect them back. But the moment you do that, you've lost. Not because they were right, but because they controlled your behavior. They set the tone, and you followed. They pulled the strings, and you danced. And this is where many people lose their peace, trying to fight for dignity in the wrong arena. But real power is quiet. Real power doesn't need to prove itself. Real power is the ability to hear something disrespectful and still respond with grace. Not because you're weak, but because you refuse to descend to that level. When you understand that your response is your responsibility, you stop letting people lead you into reactions that cost you your integrity. You begin to see every provocation not as a threat, but as a test of your emotional maturity, your purpose, your clarity. Because there is a version of you that has already mastered this. There is a future you who walks into every room, unbothered, who hears foolishness and stays silent, who receives criticism and remains calm, who speaks when necessary but never out of insecurity. That version of you does not react, he or she responds. And the road to becoming that person starts with one decision. I will not give people the power to dictate my emotions. I will choose my words. I will choose my silence. I will choose my posture. Not to please others, but to protect my peace. Because the highest form of emotional intelligence is not just what you feel, it's what you do with what you feel. And if you can master your response, you can master your life. Your mind is the control center of your life. Everything you feel, believe, say, and do flows from it. And yet, most people leave the gates of their mind wide open, unlocked, unguarded, and vulnerable to every voice, every image, every suggestion that comes their way. You cannot live in peace if your mind is under constant invasion. The same way a king would never leave the gates of his kingdom unprotected, you must never allow just anything to enter your thoughts. Offense begins in the mind. Anxiety begins in the mind. Anger, jealousy, insecurity. They all find their home in a mind that lacks order and protection. The war for your peace is not fought in your emotions, it's fought in your thoughts. And if you don't guard what comes in, you will not be able to control what comes out. Most people think their thoughts are just reactions to reality. They assume that they think what they think because of what's happening around them. But in truth, much of your mental state is shaped by what you have chosen to allow into your inner world. Conversations that were meaningless to someone else became poison to you because you let them take root. An opinion you read online is now replaying in your mind like a soundtrack, and you don't even realize that you've been meditating on something that has no business in your atmosphere. That is how the enemy of peace gains access, through open gates, through unfiltered consumption, through careless exposure. If you don't intentionally decide what you let in, you will constantly live in reaction to what the world throws at you. Protecting the gates of your mind means becoming a curator of your inner life. It means being brutally selective about who speaks into you, what you listen to, what you entertain, and even what you repeatedly think about. Not every thought deserves a seat at your table. Not every memory deserves a replay. Not every criticism deserves reflection. You must be more loyal to your peace than you are to your past. You must value clarity so deeply that you refuse to allow confusion, comparison, and clutter to live rent-free in your mind. What you tolerate mentally, you eventually manifest emotionally. And what you fail to confront in your thoughts will eventually confront you in your behavior. You can always trace the emotional state of a person by listening to the content of their thoughts. You don't accidentally become angry all the time. You've been feeding something. You don't suddenly become anxious. You've been dwelling on something. The thoughts you allow today will become the feelings you wrestle with tomorrow. So you must build walls around your mind, not to shut the world out, but to protect the peace within. Let wisdom be the guard at the gate. Let purpose be the filter. Let identity be the standard. Because once your mind is fortified, no insult, no attack, no distraction can shake what's rooted. Every offense that comes your way is not random. It's a test, a divine exam disguised as an irritation. And until you learn to recognize the purpose behind provocation, you will keep failing. The same spiritual and emotional grade. You will keep getting angry at people when it's not really about the people. It's about your development. People are tools in the curriculum of your maturity. The disrespect, the gossip, the betrayal, the backhanded compliments, the unfair treatment, none of it is wasted. It's all designed to reveal something deeper about you. Not how well you perform when life is easy, but how grounded you remain when you are misunderstood, mistreated, and provoked. Because anyone can be peaceful when they are praised. The real question is, can you stay grounded when you are challenged? You see, provocation is the mirror of your soul. It shows you where you're still reactive. It exposes what you still take personally. It highlights what still bothers you, not because others are powerful, but because your peace is still conditional. And so life, God, and even your own calling, will keep allowing provocations to arise, not to punish you, but to promote you. Because promotion only comes after passing the test. And the test will often come in the form of people you don't like, situations you didn't expect, and words that cut deeper than they should. It's not about the provoker, it's about your readiness. The key to mastering these moments is learning to see them not as offenses, but as opportunities. Every time someone tries to get under your skin, you get the chance to demonstrate that your peace is not for sale. Every time you're tempted to clap back, you have the opportunity to prove that your identity is not fragile. Every time a situation tries to pull you out of character, you can choose to stay in alignment with who you truly are. This is not weakness. This is power under control. This is emotional intelligence at its highest level. It's easy to react. It's easy to give in, but it takes power to pause. It takes wisdom to be silent. It takes security to smile when you're being tested. When you understand the purpose of provocation, you stop praying for people to stop offending you, and you start asking for strength to remain unshaken in the midst of it. Because some of your greatest lessons won't come through peace, they will come through pressure. Some of your greatest breakthroughs won't be birthed in calm, they will come in conflict. The fire wasn't sent to burn you, it was sent to prove that you can't be consumed. When you change your perspective, you change your posture. You start to realize that the people who try to shake your peace are actually sharpening your character. The moments that once made you angry now make you wiser. The things that used to offend you now train you. Because provocation is not an interruption. It's part of your preparation, so now you see anger is not your enemy. It is your instructor. It shows you where your peace is still negotiable, where your wounds still speak louder than your wisdom, and where your emotional gates are still swinging too wide. You don't overcome it by avoiding people. You overcome it by transforming yourself. You conquer not by fighting back, but by stepping up into mastery, into awareness, into emotional authority. You've learned the root of anger isn't in others. It's in what remains unresolved in you. You've seen that real strength is built on the law of internal government, that your freedom begins where your emotional slavery ends, that every moment is an opportunity to respond with power, not react with weakness, that your mind is a gate, and peace is your responsibility to guard. And above all, you now understand that provocation has purpose. It's not here to break you, but to make you unshakable. You will no longer give away your crown to people who don't even know who you are. You will no longer throw your peace into the hands of opinions that change by the hour. You will no longer be a slave to your triggers, your past, or your pride. From this moment on, you rise above. You rule from within. You lead your mind. You govern your spirit. And when life comes to test you, and it will, you won't flinch. You'll smile. You'll breathe. You'll choose stillness. Because nothing, and no one has the power to make you angry, unless you give it to them, and you're not giving it away anymore. So if you truly want to live free, if you truly want to never be angry and never be bothered again, don't change them. Change. You master you and watch how everything else loses its grip.